This is A Few Good Fights, episode 37. I'm your host, Rob Palin, and I am joined by Sean Taylor. I love you, just like, yeah, great stuff. Big year coming up, 2020. We want to preview it all. We also want to go and look back at the UFC and MMA in 2019 and give our awards, the most prestigious awards. Obviously, yeah. Fight talk, not that anymore. But the most prestigious awards in MMA. We're the Oscars of MMA award shows is what I'm going to say. Not really, but yeah.
Or like Ricky Gervais hosting them.
Yeah, phenomenal. I love that. But we're going to give our awards for like Fight of the Year, and all that kind of stuff. We're also going to look ahead to 2020 and give our picks who the champions are going to be at the end of the year, and also give our bold predictions. There's going to be some mad ones here, and I can sense that Sean's going to throw out some fucking mental ones, but we're going to give them. But also comment below and let us know. This is potentially going to be the last episode of the show in full on YouTube, because what we want to do moving forward, and let us know in the comments below if you agree with this, we want to put out clips of the show, so portions of the show throughout the week, most likely on the usual days of Thursdays, but also on Wednesday. Maybe 3 to 5 videos a week that you can watch, and that hopefully will help grow the show. And the full episode will be available on audio as always, and links to that below on Podbean and stuff. But let us know if you think it's a good idea. The reason being is we want to grow this thing as big as possible, and we realise to get new viewers in, an hour or an hour and a half show is it's dedication. It's a commitment. And
like a woman, it's a commitment.
Yeah, we can see that the people who do watch, they watch the whole thing, and you know, of course we get all the comments from our loyal viewers, but you know, a lot of people click on and like, it's an hour, don't have time. So we're going to give that a go potentially, but let us know in the comments below. But yeah, let's move on. Okay, so this is the big MMA news, and we're going to focus, as I said at the start of this, we're going to focus mostly on a year preview for the upcoming year, or you know, the year we're in right now, and a year review / awards, because you know, if you want prestigious awards, you come to A Few Good Fights, and we'll give some prestigious awards in a little bit. But what I want to talk about is a couple of pieces of news that have kind of developed while we were off.
Over the Christmas.
So there was a couple of interviews that was put out by the Mac Life. They were talking to both Conor McGregor and John Kavanagh. And I think the John Kavanagh one was the most interesting one in my opinion, because he kind of shed some light on the camp. And one thing that I think caught a lot of people's ears was his comments about basically the coaches in this camp wanting to get out of the way of Conor and let Conor do his thing, because I'm going to quote him, but we'll hear the video now in 2 seconds. Sean's going to line it up. Is that Conor knows more about fighting than everybody basically in the gym, so they want to get out of his way. But I want to play the clip because it's in context, it's better, and then we can talk about what he said and our reaction to it.
Yeah, if only we had a southpaw with crazy pressure, huh? Yeah, look, to be honest now, with Conor's fight IQ, with Conor's understanding of the game, really this training camp is about all of us getting out of his way. So provide him an environment where he can have different looks, different feels, and support him where he wants the training camp to go, and intensities, and listening to him, where he has days where he wants to push hard and days where he wants to slow down. So it's not so much about, you know, us coaches sitting down a game plan and then filling Conor in. Conor knows more about fighting than the rest of us put together.
How is he?
Yeah, so the last quote, Conor knows more about fighting than the rest of us put together. And I think this is a thing that a lot of people have spoke about over the years with Conor, because he's in a camp that doesn't produce, I guess, you know, guys to the level of, say, what Faraz Zahabi's
It's not
gym.
a factory as such.
Yeah, like there's some great fighters coming out of there, but you know, it's Conor's the best guy there. And there's certainly good guys there, but he's clearly the top guy, so that's kind of where he's at. But what was your thoughts on this? Hearing John Kavanagh basically say that Conor's, from what he said, it sounds like Conor's running the camp.
Yeah, it was interesting. It came across as quite like, as if there's a very much a yes man vibe in there at the minute. I was quite interested to hear a coach say that, as in, if you listen to guys like Nate, Israel Adesanya, Max Holloway, when they talk about their coaches, it's
very different.
Quite, yeah, the tone they use when talking about their coaches is very different. And in fairness, it wasn't Conor that said that. John Kavanagh said this. So, and it was given to the Mac Life again, and it was Conor Owens. Yeah, weird. I've never heard a statement like that from a coach.
No, it was. I found it to be a little bit bizarre, and it is a little bit like, if you're a Conor McGregor fan, you'd have to feel that it's a little bit worrying. And I thought Luke Thomas brought up a good point about this. He was talking about how no matter how good you are as a writer, you always have an editor there. And I think that's the role that a coach should have, almost like an editor to your talent. And I think there should be someone overseeing it, because maybe this is how his camps have ran over the course of his career. And if so, he's done pretty damn well for himself. Like, he's lost a couple of fights, but he's done pretty damn well for himself. So I guess we don't really know if that's the case, but it just does sound a little bit worrying, because it sounds like almost he's not being put to a standard, or he's not being made accountable for his own actions in a way, in the gym. Like, essentially what he said is, if Conor wants to pull down the intensity, we're going to pull down the intensity.
Conor wants to spar today, he spars. He wants to roll today, he rolls.
Yeah, which he should have the final say, but I don't think there shouldn't be any say from the coaches, and it seems like that's what he's saying.
I thought one thing I did remind me of was, it was kind of an excuse as such that was bandied around after the Nate fight, the first one, when he was supposed to fight RDA.
Was that when he said he was unstructured or something like that? Yeah.
He said for the second fight he went back to what it was in the old days, where there was a regime, a structure to the camp. Because he said, like, we've always known that Conor has had keys to the gym since a very young age. Yeah. Since he started training with John almost. And he would just roll in at midnight and train. That was how it was, and that was kind of the excuse as such that was bandied around after the Nate fight when he lost. And it just reminded me a little bit of that. But the thing I think as well that's worth mentioning is, does he have to be at his best to beat Cowboy? This is the thing.
Yeah, like, I think it's definitely a winnable fight.
But again, that's when we're breaking in the fight for
exactly,
that argument.
Yeah, we'll talk about that when we get to it. I just thought it was very strange.
It was very strange.
Yeah, we don't want to spend too much time on it, but we are, like, 2 weeks away from the fight, or a week, essentially.
10 days.
I mean, 10
Say
days,
isn't it? Yeah.
So next week, big show, of course. We're going to be talking about the fight, and I'll say fight because the card isn't great.
No, let's
dog
be
shit.
The card is stinking.
It's terrible.
You can smell it from here.
Yeah, no disrespect to the guys on it, because there's some good fighters on it, but terrible card. Did you see that Israel Adesanya said that Yoel Romero is next and the fight is done, the deal is done? What is your thoughts?
I love you. That was quite good, actually. Well done, me. I hope so. Damn good fight. It's a strange one, all the same. Just because
he's off a loss, yeah.
Just because of the losses and the stuff in his last few fights. But it's, at the end of the day, it's Yoel, isn't it? And I think we are kind of looking at how he looks physically and aesthetically, and it's like, it's fucking Yoel, isn't it?
Yeah.
I hope it gets made. It's a fight I do want to see at some point. If it gets made now, cool, whatever. Yeah. Because Costa is injured at the minute.
Yeah, like that's
Till probably needs another win. So
that's what I was gonna say. When this was originally proposed, I think by Adesanya, he's been always kind of trying to chase this fight. Yeah. But when it was initially proposed, we were like, I mean, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense in terms of, like, he's coming off a loss, but in terms of who else is available, you know, there's so many other guys who just can't fight Adesanya right now, and it's either that or Adesanya moves, or he, you know, just
or he waits it out. Yeah.
Waits it out,
and he wants to fight. So
he said he wants some time off, but not, you know, a lot of time.
He's had the time off.
Exactly.
He would probably say so. Yeah. Hopefully. Hell of a fight.
Yeah, hell of a fight. Can't wait. So I saw this statistic from Mike Bond. I think he's of MMA Junkie now. Where he said that more UFC fighters
these days.
Mike Bond's athletic. Don't know. I'm sorry if he is. I don't.
Apologies, Mike.
Apologies, Mike. Apologies, all these places, but I'm not sure. But essentially, he put up this tweet saying that more fighters in 2019 have missed weight than any other year in the UFC. I think it was like one more fighter from last year missed weight.
So that was volume-wise you're talking about?
Volume-wise. So that's where I thought the problem was, because there was something like, I believe it was between 4 to 6 more events in the UFC this year. So then you're looking at more fights, essentially. So, like, the actual statistic, I just done a quick calculation, and if this is slightly off, I'm sorry, but it works out essentially the same. It was like 2.9 fighters of last year, so previous year, 2018, fell out from injury, and it was 3% for last
just
year.
To interrupt you, you are correct. Mike Bond is with the MMA Junkie.
Get in there. So it's 2.9% for 2018, and actually 3% for 3% for 2018, and 2.9% for 2019. So it actually reduced slightly, basically flat. So I don't think there's a huge story here. I thought it was interesting,
Yeah.
but I think you have to take into account the amount of fights that actually happened,
Yeah.
not just the number of fighters who fell out.
Yeah, and the early weigh-ins thing is interesting because fighters, like, looking from the outside looking in, you're thinking less weight, less time on weight can only be a good thing. They're not hanging around all day. But I mean, have heard some fighters come out against it.
Yeah.
They want more time to make weight.
Yeah, it's probably the bigger weight cutters that want more time, but
Yeah. Because they will put themselves through anything. So it's an interesting one.
Yeah, I don't know. I have only cut weight for one jiu-jitsu tournament, and I was barely cutting weight. It was having a poo and then weighing in. But I would think that I'd like the early one. I'd like to get it done with.
Yeah.
Like, I'd like to get it done with, and not be sitting around dehydrated for a day.
But then you have to take into account, like you said, that some of these guys are cutting 30 pounds. Like,
yeah, exactly. I don't think my shit dropped 30 pounds now. Definitely not.
Wasn't that big.
No, it wasn't that big. It was big, not that big.
And as you have more cards, you're going to have more people missing weight.
Exactly. It's going to increase exponentially as the cards increase exponentially. That's kind of the news that I had. I'm not sure if you've seen anything else. The only other thing was that Ben Askren, he was on Ariel's show. He was in wherever Ariel's show is, New York, I guess.
NYC, I believe.
Yeah, I assume. But he was doing a interview with ESPN, I believe, for a commentary gig, which that'd be cool. I'd like to see Ben Askren do a bit of commentary.
The bit I find funny about that is that he interviewed for it, like.
Yeah.
Or I wonder, does the UFC interview that guys? Like, did DC have to sit in front of Dana and?
I guess I don't know, because the UFC do handle all the production side of things. That's one of the things they like to do. So I wonder.
Interesting.
I think maybe with fighters who are currently signed, they probably just say, you see, we'll trial you on UFC tonight or debut or whatever.
So DC, what qualifies you for the job? Do you know who I am?
yeah. I'm a legendary fighter, motherfucker.
Potentially the GOAT.
Yeah. Anyway, there's an argument there. Josh Emmett is out of the Arnold Allen fight on January 25th. That was a good one. Frank Yeager says he has no regrets taking the fight with the Korean Zombie and still plans to move to bantamweight. Obviously, he's not going to fight Corey Sandhagen in a couple of days or whatever that's supposed to happen. A couple of weeks. But yeah, that's all I had. Now I want to get into this last year and the year going forward. Let's first talk about 2019, and we'll take a little break here to recoup, and we'll be back. So this is the 2019 year in review for MMA from last year, and a lot of things happened. We're only going to talk about 4 different topics. We're going to go into the card of the year, the story of the year, the fight of the year, and the fighter of the year. And of course, there's a lot of other awards you can give, but we're like the Oscars. We like to keep it, keep it tight, keep it prestigious. So we're going to keep it to 4, and we could have some similar picks in here, but what we decided to do was we picked our own number ones, and then we picked an honourable mention. We didn't do like rankings or anything like that because we're lazy. That's all I'm going to say.
Short and sweet, Robert.
Yeah, short and sweet. So we're going to go. Yeah, nice. So we're going to start at card of the year, and I'm going to give this one to you, Sean. Sean, what was your card of the year?
Okay. I've gone with a sentimental pick on this one, an emotional pick.
Jesus Christ.
So, as the listeners of the show know, I was in America over the summer. I was in Boston. Was he in Boston at the time? I'm trying to remember now.
It's all a big blur of alcohol.
Yes, I was in Boston at the time.
Yes.
That's pretty much what it is. I was in Boston at the time. UFC 241 was on. Stipe and DC and Stipe, the rematch. First time ever been able to watch a pay-per-view card at a normal time. Watch the card from straight through from the first fight to the last fight.
In a pub,
yeah. No, it was a sports bar. Sports bar. No, because it wasn't. It was the screen. The screen setup was amazing. Like screens the whole way around the bar, and then the food was insane. America, the pints were good. Having a good buzz there with the people there for the fights as well. Bit of crack and stuff.
Speaking like a true country lad.
I know,
Like the screens were amazing.
The screens are unreal. Because normally, if you go into a pub at home, it's like you're not going to MMA though. The what?
Yeah.
But anyway, and then as well as that cracking card, you had DC and Stipe, hell of a fight, great finish. Costa and Romero, fight of the year candidate.
Will that get fight of the year?
Yeah, I had the rest of the card up on my phone. Song Yadong was on the card.
Nate Diaz, Anthony Pettis.
That was the one of
fun fight.
Sadiq Yusuf was on the card. Derek Brunson, Ian Heinch, Corey Sandhagen got a win.
Oh, that was fun.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was a great
hell of a card.
Yeah.
And the card was really good, and I had a really good night watching it. So
Yeah.
it was kind of an emotional pick for me.
Yeah.
Just enjoyed the night. Really good night watching it. Couple of bets on, obviously, obviously not in America because it's illegal. So got a proxy to do it for me. But yeah, really good night. Loved the card, and yeah, that was my pick.
That's awesome. And I think you're right. I think sometimes it's not just the quality of the
I'm
card.
a fan.
It's everything that's around it. It's like a good whiskey, right? If you have a good meal with your whiskey, it can change the taste. It can make it taste a bit different. You know what I mean? It can change your palate. And I think the same thing is with movies or MMA or whatever.
Very cultured pick of me.
Yeah, very cultured. I was having points, so I picked this one. So my pick for card of the year, I actually had trouble with this one because, as I said to you earlier on, I don't think there was just this one big standout card for the year. I think there was like some great contenders.
Some
with
really solid cards.
Solid cards, yeah. But like from top to bottom, I couldn't find one. I was like, Jesus, that's great. But there was some great cards, so I'm going to contradict myself. Anyway, UFC 236, which was headlined by Holloway versus Poirier. And it also featured Israel Adesanya versus Kelvin Gastelum, another Fight of the Year contender. I think you can argue that Poirier Holloway is a Fight of the Year contender as well. Excellent fight. The rest of the card isn't great, but I think based on them two fights and a few nice finishes like Nikita Krylov's finish over OSP and a few decent fights on the undercard like Pantoja's fight over Wilson Reis or his win over Wilson Reis, I think it was a really good card. But it was kind of my honourable mention. I'll say some kind of similar things. There was some really good fights that just made the card excellent, but the rest wasn't phenomenal. But yeah, UFC 236 is my pick.
Nice. Do you want to go with your honourable mention? So
yeah, I'll go with my honourable mention. Thanks for putting me on the spot. Now that open. My honourable mention was UFC 239, and I am saying it slowly so I can type it in because I had loads of them. John Jones Santos was the main event. Not the best fight in the world, but I thought it was interesting because it was the first time that Jones almost lost a fight in how long since? Maybe Gustafsson, you could probably argue.
Yeah.
But it also had Amanda Nunes' finish over Holly Holm, which was excellent. And of course, one of the moments of the year with Jorge Masvidal beating Ben Askren by flying knee in 5 seconds. Jan Blachowicz knocking out Luke Rockhold, his move up. And that was kind of surprising because a lot of people thought Luke Rockhold getting a handy enough fight coming up, but no, gets knocked out. Diego Sanchez wrestled Michael Chiesa, surprisingly. But yeah, I thought that was a fun card. I think there was some fun undercard fights as well. Yeah, Arnold Allen against Gilbert Melendez, a little bit of a coming out party for him. Marlon Vera, beautiful submission. Yadong is on the card as well. Your boy
Song Yadong
against Perez, and Edmund Shabazian gets the win over Jack Marshman, your boy.
Yeah.
But Edmund Shabazian, great prospect as well in his own right. But yeah, I thought that was a fun fight or fun card.
Nice. Yeah, my honourable mention goes to the last pay-per-view of the year. UFC 245. Hell of a card. 3 title fights. Usman Covington, Fight of the Year candidate. Volkanovski Max. I mean, I underrated Volkanovski big time, and that was very much a coming out party. Nunes, Durandame, Moraes Aldo, Peter Yan and Uriah Faber, Jeff Neal, Mike Perry.
Yeah, it's a great card.
Matt Brown, Ben Saunders.
Yeah. It's really fun.
Card.
That was my pick. That was my pick for a while, and then I was like, is this recency bias?
Probably kind of.
No, I don't think it was because it was a great card. But then when I went back and I looked at that one, I was like, yeah, that was a fun one as well. But yeah, 4 great cards
4
there.
brilliant cards, yeah.
But I was going to say our opinion doesn't matter, but of course it does. This is the Oscars.
Only our opinion matters.
But your opinion matters more. So comment below and let us know what your card of the year is.
And why.
And why, yeah. And give us an honourable mention as well. And if you agree with any of us, let us know. Yeah. Next up, story of the year. And Sean,
this is an interesting one.
I'll let you go first in this one as well because why not? What was your story of the year?
This is an interesting. I think there's one winner for me anyway. Jorge Masvidal. Yeah. I seen Ariel tweet earlier in the week. He tweeted a screenshot of a tweet that Jorge sent at the start of the year when he called out Darren Till to fight him in England. He said, "I hear you're struggling to get an opponent. I'll fight you in the backyard." Yeah. And Ariel just said, "Shoot your shot." Yeah. And now look at Jorge. He's after going Darren Till. Like a spectacular KO there. Arguably the greatest knockout of all time with the flying knee, 5 seconds. And then he goes and beats Nate Diaz for the BMF belt, which was specifically created for that fight. Like Jorge Masvidal was probably viewed as a bit of a journeyman by a lot of people even probably by me, because he was around quite a while before my time.
I know quite a few people who said he's one of the most overrated fighters in the UFC.
And now he's gone through this Indian summer. Is that the correct term?
Yeah, guess so. We'll go with it.
Yeah. And he's just on a roll. Like he's just rolling with it. He does credit. He's done some spiritual work. He's gone not meditating. He done some retreat somewhere. Yeah,
it was a reality show, but it was like a retreat as well.
Yeah, he does credit a lot of that to it. He's sort of found himself. But yeah, so interesting. Like looking at what he's done this year, and all it came from one tweet at the start of the year. Really called out Darren Till. And took his opportunity. Yeah,
that's a great one. That was my pick as well, but I decided to switch it up because I do have another one, a good one as well. But first on Jorge Masvidal, like absolutely incredible year, like absolutely incredible. Like he is one of the biggest stars in the UFC, and if you were to say that at the start of last year,
he doesn't hold a belt.
And he doesn't hold a belt. Well, BMF belt. But if you were to say that a real belt or a UFC belt, I guess. But if you were to say that at the start of last year, you'd be like, "What the fuck? You're smoking crack, mate. Smoking crack." But
even after the win against Till, who would have thought that Jorge Masvidal would have headlined the pay-per-view event at Madison Square Garden for a made-up belt?
Yeah, no. Like I think every fight. Right? Let me think. Every fight was he the underdog.
He was a favourite against Nate.
Favourite against Nate, okay. But I think a lot of people were picking Nate in that fight. I do think a lot of people were picking, like a lot of guys who know the sport, were picking against him. So yeah, man, if he can match 2019 with what he does in 2020, I can't wait to see it.
Arguably next in line for the title.
Arguably, yeah, I agree. Or possibly a super fight if he wants it. So we'll see how that goes.
That was your honourable mention as well, of course.
That was my honourable mention. So I don't have another one. But Sean, you have a different one as well.
I have my honourable mention is I gave this one to Dustin Poirier's Good Fight Foundation. Dustin's a genuinely good guy, isn't he?
Yeah.
I watched his Food Truck Diaries of Brendan Schaub. He's just a genuinely nice guy. Like you watch him, you're like, fucking like that dude, man. And you're rooting for him. And you read the stories with the stuff he does with this Good Fight Foundation.
Explain what that is, because I don't know if everyone
They basically
knows.
raise money for kids with disabilities to have playgrounds where they can go, and they're playgrounds specifically tailored for these kids with special needs and certain disabilities, where they can go and have normal activities that other kids would do. And Khabib obviously donated his fight gear from their fight to it, raised a lot of money. I don't want to say how much because I don't know offhand, but raised an outrage, a lot of money. Dana, I believe, matched what Khabib raised.
That's right.
Insane. So really good story, really good guy.
Yeah. So are you, Sean?
Big up, Dustin.
Yeah, because you were straight on that. It's like I was thinking, not that I'm not a good guy, but I was thinking, purely MMA, and you were like, I'm not like Dustin Poirier. That's the one thing that popped into your mind.
I wanted to give him a shout out just for being a good guy. Big up Dustin, man.
Yeah, you also brought up Shorty Torres.
I'll give two honourable mentions. Shorty Torres was paying for kids who couldn't afford gym memberships so they could go and wrestle at gyms.
That's awesome.
Just nice, like.
Just nice, yeah.
What a guy.
Yeah, like we're living in a world where, dollies get thrown through buses and, there's all the allegations and Colby and ever. But there is guys out there doing
good guys out there.
Good shit,
Just got to look.
They're not all, dopes. My one is the rise of City Kickboxing. They had one of the better years for a gym in a long time. 2 world titles in 1 year. And I know Alexander Volkanovski, I don't know if he's technically a City Kickboxing,
I believe,
but he's at least an affiliate because his coach is the head coach of City Kickboxing.
Eugene is the assistant head coach or something like that.
Yeah, of him, yeah. So like he's linked there. We'll give it to them.
Yeah.
They at least got a piece of that. But then Israel Adesanya had an unbelievable year with 3 wins. Anderson Silva beating perhaps the GOAT. Kelvin Gastelum, perhaps a Fight of the Year candidate or winner. We'll see. I don't know what your pick is. I'm not going to give it away. And then Robert Whittaker, of course, capturing the title there, obviously the interim title there. And then Alexander Volkanovski.
Dan Hooker had a good year as well.
Dan Hooker had a good year.
He's headlining in Auckland now in a couple of weeks.
Against Paul Felder. It's excellent. But then, Volkanovski not comes out of nowhere because we all knew who he was. But like last year, I really wouldn't have thought that Volkanovski would have won a title simply because I thought Max Holloway was so good. And what he done against Max Holloway was absolutely phenomenal. So I'm going to go with the rise of City Kickboxing.
Yeah, hell of a gym. We don't have a Coach of the Year award. I mean, we talked about it, but
yeah, we didn't want to, dilute this down too much. But yeah,
pretty obvious who the Coach of the Year is. It's Eugene Berman. Yeah. Such an interesting guy to listen to.
Berman. I thought you were going to go with I don't know.
John Kavanagh. Such an interesting guy to listen to. Absolutely fascinating, I think.
Yeah. And plus, just to kind of wrap that up, It's the first time since, and this is a weird one, like when Machida came around, he brought like this karate style and no one could beat it. And this is like the gym equivalent of Machida bringing the karate style, where they're bringing this certain style of feints and fakes and all this stuff that people just can't seem to defeat right now. You know, eventually it might happen, but yeah, brilliant. So fight of the year. I'll go first on this one.
Go.
And,
do you want to give your honourable mention first?
Honourable mention first. We'll go backwards on this
build
one.
it up.
So my honourable mention is Kamaru Usman versus Colby Covington. Happened very, very recently. Loved the fight. I thought it was a phenomenal show of both technique and heart by both guys. You know, sometimes when these wrestlers go in there and the wrestling doesn't happen, they have a sloppy kickboxing match. This wasn't sloppy, and I don't even think it was... Like, I'd call it a brawl, but I don't think it was an untechnical brawl.
Sometimes you got to go to the trenches.
Yeah, you do, but I don't think this was like guys just throwing shots not knowing what they were doing. I think these guys had a technical brawl, and I thought it was phenomenal.
Yeah.
It almost made my number one. I loved it. I thought it was brilliant. Elite level. And to the extent where I'm like, if they made a rematch with Usman and Covington, I wouldn't automatically say because Usman finished him late that I'm going to pick him. I need to think about it, because Covington showed a lot in that fight.
Plus, into the 5th.
Broke his jaw.
Mm-hmm.
Man.
Yeah, Colby,
big ups to both guys.
Colby came out of that fight with a lot of credit, considering what a fucking arsehole he is.
Yeah.
Hell of a fight. Elite level MMA.
Yeah.
My honourable mention, again, picked a little bit emotionally, Costa Romero. Arguably could be picked as the number one. Hell of a
fight.
Like, two guys who look like fucking gods. Like, if you were to draw a human and how you want them to aesthetically look, like this is I can never look like that. I can never ever.
No matter what you do, no matter how many peds you take.
Yeah, I don't know what like Paulo Costa or Yo Romero are eating where they're from, or what is in the meat over there.
Yeah.
But holy shit, they went to war. They had a hell of a knock.
Yeah, it was a great fight. It was similar for me with say guys like Covington, where we didn't know his toughness that much, and I think you found out Costa's toughness because he took some fucking bombs. We already knew Romero was tough.
Yeah, hell of a fight.
Yeah, and again, your picks below.
Please.
So
sorry, there is a lot of picks there for fight of the year.
Yeah, there's tons. So my actual fight of the year is Kelvin Gastelum versus Israel Adesanya. Cat out of the bag.
Yeah, I picked the same.
Yeah, we're in agreement on this one. Yeah, I mean, just an absolutely phenomenal fight. Wonderful performance by both guys.
Yeah.
And again, bringing it back to that, Adesanya, we didn't know if he had that heart. Now we know.
Yeah.
And I guess we didn't know with Gastelum either. He didn't really go through
We'd seen those issues like before, where he's like the lack of commitment with weight cutting and stuff.
But man, he put on a phenomenal performance. Again, I would like to see this rematch down the line. I really would.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's fight of the year. I don't think there's too many people who would question that one.
I don't think you could disagree with it whatsoever.
Yeah.
Thinking of Adesanya leaning against the cage like this, and he goes, "I'm willing to die." It gives me goosebumps, man. It's special to come out in the 5th round at 2-2. He's been dropped, first time ever been dropped in the UFC. He's been through a war, and the way he speaks about it now, and he's like, I had to go through that. There was stuff going on, and he says, when I'm enjoying myself, you'll know about it. And then he comes out and does that to Robert Whittaker.
5th round,
as
well. Oh my god!
And then when you know what he's been saying, and then he comes out and does that to Robert Whittaker, phenomenal. That 5th round was insane. Insane. What a fight. I've watched it a couple of times since. Yeah,
just because it's a beautiful transition, I'm going to just go straight to fight of the year, number ones, then we'll go honourable mentions, because we both just talked about him. It's Israel Adesanya. I think you could argue a few other people, and we'll give our honourable mentions. But I think Israel Adesanya, 3 fights, 3 wins. And he had kind of different ones. Like, he had Anderson Silva where it was really technical. He had to kind of show a lot without actually... Again, Luke Thomas talked about this. He had to show a lot, but it didn't seem like he showed a lot. You know, it was kind of a really, really technical fight. You can argue Anderson's past his peak, but I think it was a fun fight. Gastelum, we just spoke about, a fight of the year. And then what he did to Robert Whittaker was something special. It was absolutely special.
In a title fight, first title fight.
Yeah. Again, another one of them ones where you're like, he had that war with Gastelum. Will he look like the same guy? He looks better. He looked better. It was phenomenal. So that's both our picks. I'll let you go with your honourable mention, or if you want to say some words about Adesanya.
Israel Adesanya, man, bow down to the king. The kid is special. We always felt he had that bit of star power about him, and then that war, like the technical fight with Anderson, and it was bumped up to main event at the last minute because obviously Robert had to pull out of his fight. That was in Australia again. Then he went to war, and then he went and had some fun. That walkout against Robert Whittaker was special.
That was, that's confidence right
bow
there.
down to the king.
It's awesome.
My honourable mention goes to Jorge Masvidal.
Yeah.
Probably didn't get it just because he didn't fight for a title.
Yeah.
A proper title.
Proper title, yeah.
Darren Till, spectacular knockout. Ben Askren, fucking out of this world knockout. And then Nate Diaz, where he put on a bit of a clinic for those 3 rounds that the fight was on.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
If you're going to say breakout fight of the year, it's probably Jorge Masvidal.
Which is so
funny.
weird to say.
It's funny, isn't it? Like it just took 15 years, but you broke out or whatever it was. That's a great pick. He probably would have been my honourable mention, but I wanted to mention someone because this guy kind of falls out of this conversation a little bit because of his personality and because I guess his gimmick and because he hasn't really been that active. But Henry Cejudo had a phenomenal year. I think if the Demetrius Johnson fight happened this year, I think he had a great show because Demetrius Johnson, TJ Dillashaw, Marlon Moraes, that is a phenomenal trio. But it was just the TJ and Marlon Moraes. But TJ Dillashaw coming down and Henry Cejudo beats him, and TJ was on EPO. Great stuff. Marlon Moraes, I think, is still a great fighter, even though I guess he lost that fight pretty badly in the end, but still a great fighter. I think he's worth a show. I think Henry Cejudo had a great year.
Can't argue. A couple of other people you could mention as well. Volkanovski had a hell of a year. Amanda Nunes again. A couple of people you could mention.
Yeah. Some great ones. But yeah, comment below with your picks because there's loads that we didn't mention, and that's kind of on purpose. I didn't want to go into everybody. So let us know in the comments below what your picks are. But Sean, let's talk about 2020. Let's move on. And 2020 is going to be a fun year, hopefully. And what we're going to do is we're going to go through our bold predictions. And sometimes I hate when people do this, but fuck it.
It's a bit of fun.
Bit of crack.
Yeah.
Let's do it. We're also going to talk about who we think at the end of the year. So I'm going to say December 31st, 2020. Who are going to be the champions in each division.
As listed by the UFC website.
Yeah.
Reliable as ever.
Yeah. We're going to say who's the champions at the end of the year. And then we're going to give our prospects to watch. Now, I did put a rule on this, Sean. I think you've seen it. Is that if you pick a UFC fighter, they can't be ranked in the top 15 because, just can't be. So I say we start with our prospects.
Okay.
So Sean, I'll let you take the honours. We're gonna go again, kind of similar to what we've done. Our number 1 pick and honourable mention. We got honourable mention first. Who's your honourable mention as the top prospect or someone to watch this year?
So I was a bit stuck for my honourable mention because I didn't want to pick someone. My 2 people aren't necessarily overly obvious. One of them probably is. So I have an Irish guy in my. I'll let a little bit of cat out of
Conor McGregor, is it?
Yeah, one to watch. My honourable mention goes to Khamzat Chimaev.
Oh yeah.
So Noel will help me out a little bit with this one.
Noel's always talking about this guy.
Yeah. He landed an uppercut from hell in one of the Brave shows. I think it was in Romania. It
was beautiful.
Out of this world uppercut. He's had some hella finishes. I think he's 7-8-0. Is that correct?
Yeah, 6 or 7-0. Yeah. He's undefeated.
Quite early, in Brave. He will fight in the UFC. Yeah. Noel has seen him live. He can't speak highly enough of him. Yeah. So my honourable mention goes to Khamzat Chimaev.
Is he a Dagestani? I assume he is.
That's a good question.
Let me have a look.
I'm not too sure.
He's fighting out with Sweden, which is weird. But if you look at him, he looks like a Dagestani. He has a Swedish flag on his thing. Yeah. He's fighting out All-Star Training Centre. Interesting.
Yeah, that's what Gus and the boys. Yeah,
I've seen it. I've seen the uppercut. I've seen his 2 most recent fights. The uppercut was beautiful, and the submission against Youngloa was beautiful. But yeah, nice honourable mention. I'll go with my honourable mention as well. It's a Bellator fighter. His name, if you don't know him, is Patrick Mix, or Patchy Mix as some people call him. He's 13-0. He has No Love as his nickname as well, kind of Cody Garbrandt-ish, but he's looked phenomenal in Bellator. He's fought Ryzen 20 as well, got a good win there, but he beat Ricky Bandejas, who of course fought and beat James Gallagher. But I think he's just looked absolutely phenomenal. Look at his wins. Does he have any decisions? He has a couple of decisions a few years ago, but all his recent wins have been knockouts or submissions. He has a Sulawev stretch. This guy is good. 13-0, blue chip prospect. Wouldn't be surprised if we see him in the UFC very soon.
Nice. My prospect of the year, one to watch, Ian Gary.
Nice.
Irish guy. We've had him on the show.
Yeah.
Really nice, really good interview with him. Really good talker, and he's backing it all up so far in Cage Warriors. I think he'll win the UFC or the UFC. I think he'll win the Cage Warriors welterweight title this year.
Think so?
Yeah,
Nice.
He's coming out of Team KF. Hell, that gym is doing bits right now as well.
Yeah.
I think Tom King or Chris, one of the guys, tweeted their win rate for the year. It was touching 90%.
Yeah.
Disgusting.
Yeah, disgusting, yeah.
Unbelievable gym. Had a great year, and Ian Gary has looked phenomenal so far.
I agree. He's probably the best Irish prospect. There's a few other guys in there, but I think right now he's probably the guy that most people are excited about.
Yeah.
And I think
he's putting bums on seats with Irish people.
He is, and I think that's partially because he's the total package as well. Like he can talk. Like he can talk very well.
Good looking fella
he's
as
a
well.
Good looking fella. Sean's always saying it. He just never leaves me alone about Ian Gary being good looking. Go watching Ian. Yeah, he is. He's total package. And he's called the future, and I think that's for a reason. I do think I do think he's going to get to the UFC. I really do. And there's a long ways to go. He's 3-0, so you never know what can happen. But yeah, like what Tom King and Chris Fields are doing over there, it's insane.
Brilliant. Big up the guys.
But yeah, nice shout. Welterweight title. We'll see if that happens. My number one pick is a UFC guy. So I was looking for another UFC guy. I was trying to find someone unranked, and the guy who I wanted to go with was Corey Sandhagen, because I'm all over Corey Sandhagen, and I have been for the past 2-3 years, but couldn't go with him because he's actually ranked. But I'm going to go with Nasrat Takparast, who is like the mini
pronunciation.
Yeah, no, phenomenal. I've been trialing it all day. Who is the Kelvin Gastelum lookalike, the German Kelvin Gastelum lookalike? Yes. He's training now in TriStar with Faraz Zahabi, and he's just looked phenomenal in his last few fights. And I thought it was funny because when he made it to the UFC, a lot of people were looking at him. He's like, he's not going to hang in the UFC. Like people were like, he is not going to hang. Yeah. We've seen his fights. He fought bums, fought scrubs. Has one loss to Marcin Held, and then since then he's beat Mark Diakese, T-Ball Guti, and Joaquim Silva, and he's looked great in doing it. He actually fights similar to Gastelum. Phenomenal prospect. I wanted to take Corey Sandhagen, but Nasrat is a close second, and he's my first one because that's the one I had to pick.
Nice.
We'll go bold predictions.
Okay.
So
what way do you want to do this one? Do you want to go 1-on-1?
We'll go 1-on-1.
Okay.
So you know what bold predictions are. It's predictions we think potentially will happen, but there's a little bit of guesswork with these. You have to be a little bit bold, but also we want to think of something that actually can logically potentially happen. So Sean, I'll let you go first. What's your first bold prediction for 2020?
Khabib Nurmagomedov will retire undefeated.
Oh, Jesus, that is bold.
Yeah,
that is bold.
It is, again, something that can potentially happen. We've spoken about it a lot on this show.
He has mentioned it himself.
Yeah, a little bit out there as well because of some damn big fights out there from this year. He has Tony in April. The UFC is just propping up that McGregor rematch, and then I'd see him fighting twice this year at least. But yeah, I think it's a possibility that Khabib Nurmagomedov could retire, and if he does, I don't see who beats him. So I think he retires undefeated. Yeah,
and what I want you to do in the comments as well is take all these and basically, if you can, give a yes or no even, and your reason why.
Or tell us we're an idiot.
Yeah, tell us we're idiots, and tell us but to be honest, it's a bold one, but it's definitely not out of the realm of possibility, and I definitely have ones that are way more out of the realm, and so do you. But yeah, I'll go to my first one. The UFC will create a 165-pound belt.
Man, I hope so.
Yeah. So my reasoning behind this, even though Dana has been saying absolutely not, I think they had so much success with the BMF belt that they're probably looking at it now and saying, man, like, we could probably make some money out of this, because there's going to be so many guys between 170 and 155 who maybe are floundering a little bit.
Tweeners.
In those absolute tweeners, but also guys who are fucking phenomenal fighters. But you have fucking Khabib Nurmagomedov in there smashing people, and Kamaru Usman smashing people. But that doesn't mean these guys aren't good. So I think you get a lot of people going there. And I just think that the UFC see now that more divisions isn't necessarily a bad thing. Don't flood us with divisions. Don't do boxing every 2.5 pounds or whatever the fuck. What do they do?
It's roughly every 4 pounds. It gets a little bit bigger as you go up to it.
And you might need to do some adjustments, but I don't think it's out of realm of possibility.
No,
I really don't.
I genuinely hope it happens, because, like you say, I think there's a lot of good fighters who are just caught in the middle between weights, and
potentially Kevin Lee.
Guys who are cutting too much weight to perform at their best, and not big enough to perform at their best, or to be at their best. I agree. I hope it happens. My next one, John Jones will move up to heavyweight. He'll fight Francis Ngannou, and he will lose spectacularly.
Wow.
That's it. Yeah. Francis will knock him out in a showreel KO. he'd fuck him up.
And this, so are you saying that he'll move up to heavyweight and that'll be his first fight, Francis?
At heavyweight, yeah. I'll tell you what I think happens. So we've obviously done our year-end champions, and this one kind of ties in.
This is a spoiler, is it?
Yeah, I'll give one little spoiler. I've listed as my heavyweight champion on December 31st, 2020 as Francis Ngannou. So what I think happens is, I think DC fights Stipe in the rematch. DC wins, vacates, unless they throw a ball of money at him for John the heavyweight.
Yeah.
Let's ignore that. And then I think Francis fights John Jones for the vacant title.
Wow.
That'd be phenomenal. I think Francis fucks him up.
Jesus, I'd love to see it. Not against John, but I'd love to see the fight.
Yeah.
That's a fun one, man. That's a really fun one. Again, I don't think it's too much out of realm of possibility. Yeah. Could happen. I think we had this exact same conversation last year. Yeah. John Jones is going to move up. It's time.
John, fucking do it, man.
Just do it. Cool. Great stuff. My next one is the bantamweight title will change hands twice. So I was looking at the bantamweight division, and there's just so many good guys there right now. I don't think bantamweight is Henry Cejudo's best division. I think still flyweight is, even though he has trouble making it sometimes. I still think that's his best division. But I see guys like Peter Yan. I see guys like Corey Sandhagen. Your boy. I see other guys there who, Dominic Cruz, if he comes back, I don't know, he might be too long in the tooth, but he's still fun. But I see guys like that, and even like Aljo and all them, they're all tough
Frankie
fights.
coming down.
Potentially Frankie coming down. Wouldn't be surprised he gets title fights everywhere he goes. I think there's a lot of people in there, a lot of fighters in there who could win that title. So I'm going to say that it's going to change hands twice this year.
Yeah, very much within the realms of possibility. Some fun fights there as well.
A lot of fun
Peter
fights.
Yan and Corey Sandhagen's a hell of a fight.
I can't wait to see bantamweight next year. I really can't.
My next one is, this one's a little bit out there. You did see this one and you said,
Well, I was like, wow.
Yeah, so I've said Amanda Nunes will retire.
Yeah, the UFC are looking at this now and saying, Habib will retire. DC will retire. Fucking Amanda Nunes retire.
They're looking
Sean,
at
you're
this
killing
thinking,
us.
what the fuck is our women's division if she retires?
Oh, Jesus,
How are we going to have to take the featherweight division off the website?
Yeah.
I think she'll probably fight twice, maybe 3 times, and I'm not sure what's left for her after that. Who does she fight? Don't talk to me about this Clarissa Shields bullshit. We'll get into that later. Valentina rematch is there. The Cyborg rematch would have been there. They probably could have done that one again. Obviously, Chris Cyborg's moved to Bellator. I'm just not sure after a couple of fights this year what's left for him, and I would like to see her retire with her health fully intact. I'd imagine she wants to start a family with her fiance. So,
I'm gonna say that has zero chance of happening. But if it does happen, you're a fucking genius. Seriously. Not zero chance. Of course, it could happen, but
it's quite small.
I never would have thought of that one. But fair enough. I think you have good logic behind it.
That was a bit obscure. Yeah,
you have good logic behind it. I like it. My next one is Reece McKee wins the Cage Warriors welterweight title, fights Ross Houston for it because it's vacant right now, and then signs with the UFC.
Yeah.
So
we love Reece.
Reece is a great fighter. He's 10-2 now. He's made a bit of a comeback. He's looked really, really good. He's been calling for a title fight. Nicholas Dalby, of course, vacated his title, so it's open there. He last fought Ross Houston. I think Ross Houston, after that phenomenal fight with Dalby, if you haven't watched Ross Houston versus Nicholas Dalby, go watch that fight. I think he deserves a title fight, and that's what Reece is called for. That's a tough fight. That's a tough out. Ross Houston isn't an easy guy to beat. You've seen a UFC level talent have trouble with it. But I think Reece will win it, and then I think 11-2. And with the pedigree from Cage Warriors, we know it's a route to the UFC. At 11-2, an Irish guy,
European card
coming up somewhere, has a lot of fanfare over here.
We'll shift it.
And if you look at, actually, if I can get this up now, because I thought this was really fun. The Cage Warriors welterweight title. If you look at the lineage of the Cage Warriors welterweight title, it's insane. It's absolutely insane. If you look at how people have lost the title, right? So here we go. Last few years, Nicholas Dalby, of course, was the last champion. Vacated. Why? Because he went to the UFC. Before that, Karl Amasu was the champion. He actually vacated because he went to Brave. Before that was Nicholas Dalby again. He vacated because he went to the UFC. Before that was Cal Pendred, vacated because he went to the UFC. Pascal Kraus vacated the UFC. Dan Hardy vacated the UFC. You can continue going
through. Hell of a lineup.
Dan Hardy, he was the last one there. Unbelievable. Yeah. So just lineage there is crazy, but that's my pick.
Yeah, I would absolutely love to see Reece in the UFC. Nice guy, we've had him on before. Yeah, hell of a fighter. My next one, Justin Gaethje will fight for a UFC title.
I can see it.
Yeah, you can
I can
see
see
it. I think if it happens, it probably comes about because Khabib has vacated or retired or something. I think if Khabib fights Tony, wins, Conor is next.
You definitely think so, do you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you not?
No, I do. I don't know.
I don't like it, but
Yeah, no, I do. I don't know. I see the talk of Jorge Masvidal out there, and that's kind of thrown me off a little bit for Conor as well. But I think it is like. Yeah.
I think that's what they'll do, or that's what they'll at least look to do.
Mm.
And then Conor, or he beats Conor again, obviously. And then maybe fights Gaethje, or maybe vacates and retires. And in which case, I would fucking love to see Justin Gaethje against like Tony Ferguson or even Conor, not for a title maybe, but I'd just put Gaethje in against anyone, and I want to see it.
Yeah.
And I really hope he fights for a title because he's on a good run at the minute. Probably would get a title in another division at the minute, but Conor's coming in and fucking his shit up, and the division's just a little bit behind at the minute.
Yeah. I like it. It really depends on how this plays out. The lightweight is a kind of a messy one, unfortunately, but yeah, I like it. My next one is at complete odds with one of yours. In particular, that John Jones will fight Francis Ngannou, because I have that Stipe Miocic fights and finishes both Daniel Cormier and Francis Ngannou this year.
Okay, sell it to me.
So I think I was all over the DC was going to win the rematch with Stipe Miocic, and I thought he looked good in that
3
fight.
rounds to nil up.
Yeah, I think you could arguably say that. Yeah, but I don't know. I think time catches up with everyone. He got hurt in that fight. I think a rematch would maybe look similar, but I don't know. I fancy Stipe in that one. And then with Francis Ngannou, they fought before. Francis has got better, I think, but we've yet to see him against a really high level wrestler who could actually wrestle him. Of course, Ken Velasquez was there, but he got hurt really quickly. We don't know what's going to happen.
Kane at his best, probably.
Yeah, I think that was aside from Derek Lewis, I think that was the worst we've seen.
The worst fight of all time.
Yeah, that was the worst fight. But I think that was the worst we've seen, Francis Ngannou against Stipe Miocic, and I don't see him beating him. I just don't. So yeah, that's my pick. I think it's bold enough because originally I thought Francis Ngannou, I was with you. I thought he was going to finish the year as champ, and the more I thought about it, I was like, no, I'm going to say Stipe holds on to it, which would be incredible for him.
Either way, both the pathways we've lined out are fucking phenomenal. For fans, they're unbelievably fun. So yeah, if either one happens, I'd be delighted.
Yeah.
My last one is a high-profile boxer will compete in MMA.
Are you going to give a name, or are you going to give it a crop of talent?
I can give a few, yeah.
Okay, what's
Clarissa Shields seems to be the realest talk I've seen from any boxer, to be honest.
I'm pretty sure I seen a news article today where she said that she wants her first fight to happen in the next few months in MMA. Yeah,
she said, the article I seen said she said it will happen.
Yeah,
same thing. She seems to be the realest talk from anyone I've seen. I mean, Tyson Fury talks bollocks, so does Floyd. What I had before this, I said this to you earlier, what I had before I decided on this one was that Zuffa Boxing would be a flop.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure they'll actually launch Zuffa Boxing. I think some boxer of note will compete in MMA.
You had to put your money on it right now.
Probably Clarissa.
I
don't really want to see it.
Yeah, the thing is with that one, I think it kind of makes sense in a way because
egos will force them into doing it.
Egos will force them into doing it, but also how much money is in female boxing? I don't know. I don't think there's a whole lot. There's probably
Katie Taylor's on the path. She's going to be the first $1 million payday.
Yeah, exactly. But she's the first $1 million payday. I think that says it all. In terms of boxing, relative to what male fighters get. So if you're looking at people who could transition over, I think saying a really good female boxer coming over, give her a few scrubs, she'll sell some tickets and she'll make a lot of money. So relative to what she could make, because the UFC they should be able to pay Clarissa Shields the same amount or at least more than probably what she's getting right now. That's me with a ballpark
actually probably a fair
figure. Point
for women's MMA. She could probably earn more money in women's MMA than she does for
she could headline a pay-per-view,
yeah,
or an ESPN card or something, just because she has that name and it's the intrigue of it all. So yeah, that's why I think that could be a good one. My last one is Anthony Johnson returned to the UFC, fights and loses to John Jones. So I seen he was talking about a return potentially to heavyweight. Then he started saying, actually, no, I might do 205, even though he's a fucking,
I want to see Anthony
brick shit
Johnson
house.
at heavyweight.
Me too. Maybe it'll happen at heavyweight. I'm not saying light heavyweight, but I think he's going to come back, and I think he's going to fight John Jones. They've been talking about it for a long time. We wanted to see it, but I think Jones will ultimately beat him. Even though I think it's a tough fight for him. But yeah, that's my last one.
Nice.
That was our that's 10 bold predictions for next year. Let us know.
I think if we
if
get
you
one right, we'll be doing well.
If we get one right, we'll be doing well. Yeah. Tell us what the craziest one was. Amanda Nunes will retire. I'm joking. And tell us if you agree or disagree with them. And last up for this year preview is the end of year champion. So we're going to talk about who will be the champion by the year's end. Sean, I don't know if you can do this while I'm talking. Can you get the UFC champions or the rankings up on the screen? We can show them just so we can go through them that way.
Fill some airtime there for me.
Yeah, fill some airtime. So it is what it is. Like it's Max Holloway shit. You know, we're going to talk about who the champions are going to be at the end of the year. We're going to start by weight class from lightest to heaviest.
Yep.
And that's how we're going to do it. And we'll be able to get the current champions up here if the UFC have updated their rankings and their fucking champions. Don't trust them. We're not going to give pound for pound champion because that doesn't exist. So yeah, we'll start here. So it's weird because I'm starting at the women's strawweight.
Yeah.
So you need to go down because the UFC have it this way. If you want to scroll down a little bit.
There's obviously male dominance and all that.
Yeah. Luckily we have no female viewers.
Sorry, folks. So we are starting at women's strawweight.
Yeah. So current champion right now is Weili Zhang or Zhang Weili. Sean, I'm going to throw it to you first. Who is the champion by the year's end?
I've gone with Rose Namajunas.
Wow.
I think we've seen there's a lot of volatility in the champions at women divisions, especially. I know Valentina and Amanda have been quite dominant, but I think at strawweight especially. I mean, if you look at the rankings there, just let me get them up on the screen for everyone here.
Yeah.
If you look at the rankings, I mean, Jessica Andrade has been a champion, Rose has been a champion, Yuan has been a champion, and then there's Jaylee Wang.
Yeah.
I think the Joanna and Zhang is next, I believe. I think I'm going to go Joanna beats her, and then they do the rematch with Rose. Rose beat her twice. The story's there, and then Rose beats her.
Well done. You have this all mapped out.
That's my logic.
Great stuff.
Talk to me.
I was going to stay with Weili Zhang. I think she's an excellent fighter.
Mm-hmm.
And then I looked at Tatiana Suarez and I was like, I think that might be a tough matchup for her. The only problem with Suarez is that she's out injured, and she's been out injured for a long time. I don't think she's coming back to an immediate title fight, so she's got to get one in first. If she wins that, I think she's probably number one contender. And then I think she matches up well with Rose. I think she matches up well with Andrade. I think she matches up well with Zhang. I'm not saying she wins all them fights, but I think she has a chance, so I'm going to go with Tatiana Suarez.
Yeah, some really fun fights there at women's strawweight this year.
Scroll back up because we're going to go to flyweight. Male flyweight.
Can I just say, right?
Yeah.
We did this last year, and I said the flyweights would be sticking around.
You did. You're making a mess of this, though.
Sorry, yeah.
You did, well done. And me and Noel were like, absolutely not, it's gone.
You said it was dead.
And it's here. So apparently Henry Cejudo's still a champion, but he got stripped recently. So
was he stripped or did he vacate? Doesn't matter really.
Doesn't matter really. He's not champion anyway. So I'll go first on this one. I think Joseph Benavidez will be the champion. I believe it's Joseph Benavidez versus Formiga.
I think so, yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
There he is there. Couldn't see him there. Yeah, he is ranked. He's number one. I think he wins that fight. And I think he probably has one more or two more during the year. And he's excellent at that division. It wouldn't surprise me if Henry loses the bantamweight title, he goes back down, give it another go, and then we could be talking about something interesting. But yeah, I'm going to go with Joseph Benavidez.
Yeah, I've followed suit, and I've gone Joseph Benavidez.
Nice.
Kind of because I think he will, like you say, I think he'll fight twice. He'll fight Formiga, I think he wins, and then he'll fight again. Probably Figueiredo maybe.
Yeah.
Oh no, he fought Figueiredo actually, didn't he? To get to the number one.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
He'll probably fight again, and I just think he very much deserves a title.
Yeah.
He's been unlucky to be around in DJ's era.
Yeah.
He has a win over Cejudo.
Yes. I believe. Yeah, he does.
Yeah. So yeah, I think he's been very unlucky not to already have a title to his name.
Yeah.
So yeah, I hope he does, and I think he will do it this year.
That was the one where it was a really close fight, wasn't it?
Yeah,
close decision.
And his only loss, I believe, recently was a
split decision.
very tight split decision to Sergio Pettis, which he arguably won.
Yeah.
So yeah, Joseph Benavidez for me.
Yeah, I think we're in agreement there. Again, let us know if you agree with these or give your picks down below.
Where are we
Bantamweight.
next? Bantam.
So there, Henry
Staying
Cejudo
now.
again.
Yeah.
Triple C. I kind of spoke about this earlier. I don't think bantamweight is Henry's best division. I think he's going to have trouble with some of the guys. If he beats them, man, he's in contention for like real pound for pound status. Even though I think it's a silly argument, but I'm going to go with the guy I've been talking about for a long time. Don't know what's going to happen this year, but I'm going to say it. Corey Sandhagen.
I can't believe you thought he wasn't ranked to pick him as a prospect.
I know. I didn't think he wasn't ranked. I was just hoping that the UFC fucking rankings were terrible like they always are. But yeah, I'm going to go Corey Sandhagen. Phenomenal fighter, but man, this division is just... That's why I said twice it's going to change hands. I think Peter Yan might get a hold of it. Corey Sandhagen might get a hold of it. You never know. I'm going to go with Corey Sandhagen. It's a bold prediction, I think.
Yeah, it's the toughest one to pick probably. I mean, you look to the rankings there. Moraes, Killer, Sterling, Yan, Sandhagen.
Fucking Jose Aldo.
Jose Aldo looked really good.
He looked really good, and Henry Cejudo wants to fight him, so you never fucking know. The UFC might make that.
Yeah, I've gone Peter Yan just because I think I have a thing with the Eastern Europeans. They're just fucking bred differently.
Yeah.
Those guys
He's
are
a savage.
animals, man. Animals.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Peter Yan for me.
He's a savage. Next up, you might have to scroll down to the bottom. It's women's bantamweight. Yeah, she's down the bottom. So current champion right now, of course, and the female GOAT is Amanda Nunes. Who do you have as the champion at the end of the year?
Amanda.
I thought she's going to retire.
Plot
hole. Plot hole is shot. Yeah. She'll retire in December and like vacate.
Yeah, but the official system for this, Rob, is who's listed as the champion on the website. I mean, Henry Cejudo's still up there as champ, so if she's listed as the champ on the 31st of December 2020 but has retired, I'm claiming it. So, yeah, that was an out there prediction. No one beats Amanda this year in any division, in my opinion. So that's the logic there.
Do you know what I was tempted to do? I was tempted to say Valentina Shevchenko. She moved to the division. They fought before, of course, and a
couple of close fights.
I just thought, I just think there's not that many contenders for her in her division, and then you could kind of say the same for Amanda. So I thought maybe that could happen. But even if they do fight, I'd probably favour Amanda. So I'm going to go Amanda Nunes as well. I think we're in agreement there. Next up is featherweight.
Are we going to do women's flyweight, or are we just skipping that one?
Women's flyweight. Yeah, no, I thought. Yeah, we're not skipping it.
Do you want to do it
because it's going to be it's going to be Valentina Shevchenko.
Yeah.
There's nobody there.
Yeah, no, that's it.
Yeah, no, I just completely missed it. Yeah, my bad.
Sexist. Sorry, I'm desperate with Google on this.
Male featherweight. We should have done female featherweight while we were there before. Okay.
Is that even a division these days? Or
technically, it is.
It's on the website. It's on the website.
We're going to do the BMF division.
No.
Featherweight. Are you up first?
Yeah, I'll go first. I picked Volkanovski. It's an odd division. It's in a strange place, I think. With Max at the minute. Is Max going to stay? Is he going to move up? Zabit is there. Korean Zombie is on a fucking tear. Brian Ortega coming back. So there's some really fun fights, I think.
Yeah.
And I've loosely picked Volkanovski just because I think I underrated him big time. So I'm going to give him a bit of credit here. I'm going to think he'll fight at least twice and win. Yeah, but there's some damn fun fights out there.
Yeah.
Whatever happens.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. I've the same. I have Volkanovski. I think he's gonna retain. For the year, there is some really interesting ones like Brian Ortega and Zabit, and even Max if he does come back. I think they're all interesting fights, and I don't think they're gimmies, or I don't think they're like fights that 100% that he's gonna win. So tough one, but I'm gonna say he's gonna hold on to it. Maybe with the skin of his teeth. Featherweight, women's.
Amanda.
I'm gonna say nobody. I think I said this last year as well.
You did, yeah. I mean, look at the featherweight division on the website.
No one there.
It's disgusting.
That's hilarious.
It's literally just so. All that is for pay-per-views, and they can mark it as a belt.
But they can't do a 165 division.
Yeah, scandalous.
Fuck off. It'd be hilarious if they had the BMF one there. Just
wouldn't it, honestly?
Just Jorge.
Yeah, just Jorge in his Scarface.
Yeah. So you're saying Amanda's gonna keep it? They're gonna keep it afloat by doing one fight there or something?
I don't know.
Or they probably just leave it on the website just in case they need a main event.
In case they're stuck.
Great stuff.
And once it's on the website, Rob, you can mark her as a 2-division champion.
Exactly. Yeah, that's very true. That is very true. Lightweight. Yeah, this is the one. Did you? No. You didn't give a spoiler. Let's go first.
I didn't really.
Kind of let the cat out of the bag. Go first.
I think I'm quietly confident in my Khabib retires pick, right? I'm going to get so much shit for this. I've picked Justin Gaethje.
I think people, when we were building that up, I'd say people were like, he's going to say Conor McGregor.
No.
This fucker's going to say Conor McGregor.
I've picked Justin Gaethje to be the champion of the lightweight division at 31st of December 2020.
Bold prediction.
Yeah, like I
So
said,
you
I
think he's
think
gonna
Khabib
retire?
fights twice, maybe 3 times, retires. I think the only way it happens is if Khabib fights twice in like his second being in September, October, vacates then pretty soon
Pretty
after,
soon.
vacant title, and you have Justin against Max. Do you know what? You have Justin against Max for the vacant title.
Fair enough. If Max needs a win, though.
Yeah,
100%
probably,
needs a
yeah.
win, yeah. He's, just because
But
you love Max on the way.
I've
you
gone
have
with
to
a
bash.
mad one there just because fuck it. I think it's very possible. If
Habib's talking about retirement. You never know. But I've gone.
Yeah,
with
let's
Khabib.
be real. Likely to be Khabib, but I've just gone with a mad one.
Yeah, I'm conservative with this one. I'm gonna say Habib. I think he's gonna hold on to it. I can't see anyone there beating him. I really can't. And if he doesn't retire and he stays around, I think he beats everyone there. Tony Ferguson though, you never know. Tony Ferguson is a crazy fighter.
Tony doesn't even know.
No, Tony doesn't know. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Habib in that one. Welterweight, I'll go first in this one. Again, another retain. I think Kamaru Usman is an excellent fighter in this division. Leon Edwards is a fun fight. I think based on the last fight, they both changed obviously, but I think he's going to hold on to it if that's what they end up doing. Colby Covington one rematch could be fun. Jorge Masvidal could be fun, but I think he beats all them guys. I think he beats Tyron. I'm going to stay with Kamaru Usman.
I've stuck with Kamaru as well. I think a really interesting fight though, if he got a couple of wins, is Stephen Thompson.
Oh yeah,
Is a guy who could potentially pose a few problems.
a different type of challenge.
Different type of challenge to like Jorge or Leon. But yeah, I think there's some really good fights out there for him. I just think he can be quite dominant. But Thompson's a wild card. I think that could potentially pose him some different problems.
Yeah, and like if you look at the Covington fight, if you can keep it standing, Covington landed some good shots, and if you have a better striker there, who knows? Next up, where are we going? Middleweight, of course. Middleweight. Who's your champ?
Adesanya. No one beats Adesanya this year.
Yeah.
He beats Romero, and then he beats who else is in the rankings? He'll probably fight Till
Costa.
this year.
He might do Costa because Costa gets healthy.
Sorry, Costa will be next in line.
Yeah, Till maybe.
Adesanya.
Israel
Israel has said that he wants to fight 3 times this year. So let's say he goes Romero, Costa, Darren Till.
That's a great year, isn't it?
That's a hell of a year.
I
man.
will watch that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I will partake in watching that.
Yeah.
I just think he's special.
Yeah, me too.
Big fan.
Another retention for me. I'm gonna go Israel Adesanya. We'll
Yeah.
have to see how many we have retaining and
Yeah.
whatever after this. But yeah, Adesanya. Everything you said, I'll just say it. Everything
Yeah.
you said, I think he's gonna hold on to it. Light heavyweight.
Yeah.
John Jones.
Yeah, I've gone John as well. Go on.
Yeah. Like, unless he moves, I don't see anyone there beating him. I was tempted to say Dominic Reyes because 2 shots. Either he goes up and either he beats him and then he goes up and then Dominic Reyes is floating around there and he do some kind of vacant title and he wins it. Or fuck it. John Jones didn't look great against Thiago Santos. Just didn't. So yeah, you never know. Dominic Reyes could go out here and spark him. Who knows? But yeah, I just think John Jones potentially to go.
I've picked John because if it's not him, I don't know who the fuck it is.
Yeah, I agree.
That division, like DC, still number 2 in the rankings. Come on, like Christ. Anthony Smith got fucked up, got poked around for 5 rounds by John Jones. Thiago Santos, close fight, but he ain't fighting anytime soon.
Yeah, Alex retired and then came back, and
Ray, like
Glover is still.
The only way it's someone else's, the only way it's someone else's is if it's a vacant title, and it's a very thin division.
Yeah.
So yeah, John or someone obscure, someone out there for me.
Yeah. We let the cat out of the bag on the last one.
I did. You did. Oh yeah, you did.
We did.
Sorry,
we both did. So we shouldn't have left this one to last because there's no tension.
Yeah.
So I went Stipe Miocic again. Another fucking retention. Jesus Christ, Rob. And of course Sean went Francis Ngannou. We explained kind of our reasons behind that. So yeah, that's
fun
it.
division at the minute, I think.
Yeah. So let us know in the comments below how many retentions I have and Sean has, and how many changes of the titles is there, because I don't want to count them now. But yeah, that's it on that. What I want to do is quickly go to a couple of fan questions, end the show, and get the hell out of here. So now we're going to get into some fan questions, Sean. We have them on the screen, I think. Do we?
We do.
Great stuff. First one up, Linus up in focus. What Sean says to the Mots. Do you agree that so far Adesanya has had maybe the most impressive first 2 years in the UFC history? He has shown he can last 5 rounds slugfest with Kelvin, make short work of Whittaker, and I don't think enough has been made of the fact that he's calling out Romero. Who does that? It's at a point where I know everyone loses, but if he loses anytime soon, I'll be shocked. And John Jones is definitely jealous. I love how it ended. John Jones is definitely jealous. Thoughts?
First question, do I think he's had the most impressive first 2 years in the UFC history? It would be hard for me to answer that on the spot without recency bias coming in. McGregor had a very impressive first couple of years. He was hindered a little bit by that ACL tear. Adesanya's had a hell of a run in this. What is it, 6 fights?
I say Heist Crazy at the best. Joking.
Is it 6 fights and he's a champion? Headline 2 pay-per-views in Australia. Yeah. Personally, he's been one of the most fun fighters I've watched in a while. So yeah, I've absolutely enjoyed it, and he's been unbelievably impressive. He stepped up to the plate every time he's upped in levels. So yeah. To me, he's shown everything. He's shown the slugfest. He's shown the technical side. He's shown the heart. He's shown the skill. He's shown everything. Yeah, I'm gonna say so. First 2 years, basically, you're basically in that 2 years where Conor went on that run and beat Jose Aldo. So that's impressive as well. And then the other one I thought was Adesanya's, I guess, mentor in a way, even though not a direct mentor. But Anderson Silva had a phenomenal start to his UFC career. Of course, come in, beat Chris Lieben, then won the title, and then within 2 years he had defended it a couple of times. So, I would say Anderson Silva has a more impressive 2 years because he came in, won the title on the second fight, and then defended it a few times. Looked phenomenal. Not enough has been said about him calling out Romero, and that's actually, I think that's a great point. Because it's just hilarious as well. It's like fucking Romero, man.
The scariest guy in the division, arguably, and you're calling him out. That's a good point.
And there's the story of Israel and Jorge meeting in the club. And Israel says, I'll fight him. And he looks Jorge in the eye and he says, no, I'll fucking fight him. And Jorge's like, my man. That's basically that's like the culty version of what happened. But Jorge was like,
the culty version.
My man, like, yeah.
My boyo.
Yeah, me boy.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah, deadly. John Jones is definitely jealous. Oh, sorry. If you lose anytime soon, I'll be shocked. Yeah, I mean, we've both picked him as our champion at the end of the year, so. Yeah.
I mean, shocked. Probably not because there's so many good guys there.
Not shocked, but surprised.
Surprised, yeah. George Maskell said, where would Strikeforce be now at the end of this decade without the UFC merger? Man, it's a great question.
You'd be better fit to answer this.
Yeah, I think like Strikeforce, when they got absorbed by the UFC, they had some really good guys. Like if you look at the guys who come over, like Luke Rockhold, Daniel Cormier, some of the, like Luke Rockhold, you can say what you will about him, but he became a UFC champion. He did. Gilbert Melendez became a UFC champion. He did. Ronda Rousey was that with the Strikeforce thing or was it before? Either way, I think Strikeforce would be going strong, and I think they'd be in a similar position. Probably, I mean, they'd be in a better position than Bellator. But what I mean is to be in a similar position where they'd be on some big streaming network like DAZN, or definitely not ESPN Plus, but some big streaming network. Scott Coker doing his thing, and remember, Strikeforce had that heavyweight tournament going on. So if you probably don't remember this, Sean, you probably weren't watching very closely, but they had a heavyweight tournament, the Grand Prix, which Daniel Cormier won, and the UFC bought Strikeforce basically in the middle of that, or just as it was beginning, and that was like peak heavyweight. It had like Alistair Overeem, who had to kind of pull out because he was jacked the fuck. It had Antonio Silva, who was good at the time. I had Daniel Cormier, as I said. I had Josh. Did I have Josh Barnett? Can't remember. I think it did. It did. I had Josh Barnett because Daniel Cormier beat Josh Barnett. Phenomenal. I think they'd be in a better position, and they'd be maybe not a legitimate rival to the UFC, but close. I mean, like a distant.
Very much a breeding ground.
Yeah, 100%. It was phenomenal. What's next?
Ross Geller.
Well done. Actually, no, Will Gardner. Who do you think would win, a Prime Diaz or Jorge Masvidal? I think if they fought now, Jorge would starch him. I don't know about a Prime Diaz, though. Nick Diaz.
What does a Prime Nick Diaz look like?
Yeah, so this is an interesting one. So,
have we missed?
Is this a Prime Jorge Masvidal? Like, I mean,
it is.
It is a Prime, but like actual physically, you wouldn't say like 34.
Well, historically speaking, you would guess that he isn't, but I mean,
like it is.
Looking at him, he's in his prime.
Yeah,
watching him, he's in his prime.
But the funny thing about this one is they could have crossed paths. Pats, because
100%.
they almost did.
Yeah.
So like they could have fought each other, but even though Jorge was younger at the time, he's better now. So it's a weird kind of comparison.
Yeah.
But like if you're gonna go style for style, fighter for fighter, ooh. Historically, I'm going to say Nick Diaz, simply because I think Jorge Masvidal right now, and of course this is his prime, he's fighting a little bit differently. But I'm going to say if he fights Nick Diaz, he doesn't fight in the same way he does fight now, because Nick has this tendency to get guys to fight at his pace. I'm going to say Nick Diaz at his prime.
I'll take Jorge. But
Nice.
obviously I've seen a lot more of Jorge than I have
you've
of
seen
Nick,
more
so,
the later Nick Diaz.
Yep.
Ross Geller, missed you guys, missed you too, Ross. Okay, my question is about Conor's recent interview on Mac Life channel. He seemed confident, but as soon as Khabib's name got mentioned, he got rattled. His 229 fight analysis was absolutely bizarre. What do you think of his mindset? And can you surely say that old Conor is back? Did you see the interview?
Yeah, I've seen it.
What are your thoughts?
I agree that his analysis of the fight is a bit bizarre.
Very bizarre.
Yeah, it's like talk about rose tinted glasses. Fucking
Yeah,
hell.
yeah.
Someone needs to tell him he got rolled around like a rag doll for
Yeah.
a lot of the fight. Did he get rattled when Khabib's name was mentioned? Not really, to be honest. I don't think so. I didn't
notice that either.
Yeah, I didn't. It wasn't something
He
I personally
maybe
noticed.
got angry.
Yeah, I think
don't
it's
know if
just
rattled is
he's
the right
probably
word.
sick of having Khabib mentioned and the fact he got fucked around for a lot of the fight.
Yeah.
I think when he says that Khabib is running scared, come on.
Yeah.
Can you surely say that the old Conor is back? Nope.
No, I don't think. Yeah,
You cannot. Maybe when
he might be, but I can't say
not
that.
right now.
Yeah.
You can't. Not seen him fight.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with your analysis. I think, his 229 fight analysis was just absolutely outrageous.
Yeah, it's fucking
Outrageous. Like, I won these rounds, and he only won because he was sniffing. Come on, Conor. Like, Conor, you were better than this a few years
This
ago.
is Conor that knows more about the fight game than his whole camp combined.
Oh, Sean. James Mosley
Sorry,
asked,
guys.
do you see a long reign for Kamaru Usman? Can you see anyone beat him? We kind of spoke about this very recently.
Yeah.
I do see a long reign because I think he's going to hold on to it for the year. I can see him losing to Colby Covington. That's one. I can see him losing to him if they fight again. Not that I'm going to pick him, but I think he can. So I do see him losing to people. I can see Leon Edwards giving him a good fight. But yeah, I see him holding on to it for a while. I assume you think the same, Sean.
Yeah, I agree. Again, some fun fights that I'd like to see at welterweight. That matchup, the rematch, Thompson, apologies. There's some fun fights. Yeah,
there is.
I think we're out of questions so far.
Salvatore, waiting for Brendan Dorman. We just can't get our time schedules. We just can't get it fucking done, but I'm trying. Jesse Mago said, good on you boys, keep them coming. I reckon the only way Khabib rematches Conor is if the UFC can guarantee him a GSP fight if he wins. Just a thought, not really a question. Interesting insight. Khabib really wants that fight. So
The GSP one?
Yeah, the GSP one. So, man, I wouldn't.
I think that's a really interesting thought, right? Because I don't think Khabib, like, why would Khabib be that other than the money, which we know Khabib isn't necessarily motivated by, why would he want that Conor match? In his eyes, he fucked him up for 4 rounds.
I think in everyone but Conor's eyes, he fucked him up. No disrespect,
but I think it's
but
interesting as well because the UFC can tell you can fight this guy next and it will likely happen. I think GSP is a hard one to guarantee that you can have next.
I agree with that. Although GSP does want the fight as well, apparently, but it's a hard one to do.
It's a hard one to say, we'll guarantee you GSP next.
Yeah.
He can be a bit flaky when it comes to that sort of stuff. So,
last one, not a question, but he said, Clint Reeves said, we really got to figure out a way to get more people watching. Y'all are my favourite MMA people to listen to. Keep up the good work. Well, thanks, Clint. Really appreciate that. We'll end the show there, and if you want to figure out a way to help people get watching, like this video.
Buy us some ad space.
Like this video, subscribe, and when you subscribe, there's a little bell. Click the notifications. And genuinely, the way people will find this show is if you watch, you like it, you comment, and YouTube see that you're interacting, and they say people are watching this. Let's recommend it to more people.
Tell us we're deadly.
And I mean, like, you can tell your friends. That's brilliant. You can share it on social media. That would be very helpful. But honestly, if you watch, share, like, there's a reason why all these YouTubers say it. Because that's how this thing works. YouTube don't know when to recommend things unless you tell them, and you have to tell them by watching and doing all that stuff. I mentioned this at the start of the show. I think this will be the last week of the full show going on YouTube. It's the end of an era. Of course, the full show is sticking around. It'll be audio only, but we've been doing this for a while, and we want to try something new. We want to put out some clips because We realise that an hour show or an hour and a half show or whatever the show ends up being in any given week is a commitment. It just is. So we want to try something out. We want to release some of the better clips from the show, maybe 4 to 5, we'll see, maybe 3 to 5, whatever. Release them on YouTube a week, hopefully on Wednesdays, maybe 2 on Wednesdays or 1 on Wednesday, and then a few on Thursday. So it'll be a similar enough time.
Let us know though what you think.
Yeah, let us know what you think, if you think it's a good idea. Now, the reason why we're not going to put up the full show and put up clips is because me and John both work, the editing would take way too much time. It just wouldn't be feasible. So it's either or at this point. And because we've been doing it for so long and we've had some growth, 100%, but we want to push this as far as we can. That's why we're doing all the other videos. So we're going to give it a go. We'll see if it works. We've tried out the other way. We still love doing the show. But what you can do is you can find us on Podbean, iTunes, where else? Stitcher. You can find us on Spotify as well.
Spotify is probably the main one.
Spotify is the main one. But if you find us on Podbean, we have complete control over that. So we have like a comment section under each episode. People don't usually comment on it because we never promote it. But if you want to listen to the full show and you want to comment on everything, check that out. But also, as I said, watch all the videos we put out because it's going to be the show. It's going to be all pieced together. And yeah, hopefully that'll work out. But let us know in the comments, as Sean said. But Sean, thanks for joining me. Welcome back.